Good evening, one and all. I welcome you all to Ganesh IAS Academy. In today's session, we'll be seeing environment-based current affairs from August 4th to 10th, 2023. Let us get into the news articles one by one. The first news for the day is Plastic Overshoot Day. So, what is this Plastic Overshoot Day and what is its significance? All those details we must have to understand. Recently, the Earth witnessed Plastic Overshoot Day on July 28, 2023. And what is its significance? This marks the point in the year when the amount of plastic waste generated exceeds. So, the important word here is exceeds. Exceeds what? It exceeds the global waste management capacity. So, globally we will be having a certain waste management capacity, and when the plastic waste generated by humans exceeds the management capacity that we have, then that particular thing is called as overshoot. So, Plastic Overshoot Day was observed on 28th July 2023 for this year. Okay. Next, the Plastic Overshoot Day report. A report was developed, and it was developed by a Swiss-based research consultancy called Earth Action. Okay. So, the consultancy's name is Earth Action. It is Switzerland based. Okay. It sheds light on the alarming issue of the plastic pollution and its implication on the environment. So, what is this report going to say and other details we must have to see. Other than that, this Plastic Overshoot Day is determined based on a particular index called as Mismanaged Waste Index, MWI. And what is this Mismanaged Waste Index? It is actually the gap in the waste management capacity and the plastic consumption is called as Mismanaged Waste Index. So, gap in the sense the difference between the waste management capacity and the plastic consumption or the plastic generation is called as MWI. So, such statements are important from your exam point of view. Okay. Moving on, what are the highlights of that report? That report which was released by the Swiss-based consultancy called the Earth Action. It has given certain details, that is, it identifies 12 countries responsible for 52% of the world's mismanaged plastic waste. Okay, and India is one among the 12 countries. That is why we are giving importance to this news. Other than that, there are 12 other countries like China, Brazil, Indonesia, Thailand, Russia, Mexico, United States, Saudi Arabia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Iran, and then Kazakhstan. Okay, so India is one among the 12 countries which is responsible for 52% of world's mismanaged plastic waste. Other than that, 3 countries with the highest mismanaged waste percentages are Mozambique, Nigeria, and Kenya. See the percentages: 99.8%, 99.44, 98.9, and then the 4th comes India. Okay, so India ranks 4th in the MWI, that is Mismanaged Waste Index, and its percentage is 98.55% of waste is generated in India. And these 3 countries, all the 3 countries belong to the African continent, the top 3 countries with bad performing countries in terms of mismanaged waste. They all belong to the African countries. Okay, African continent. Yes. Next, one of the main culprit here is the short life plastics. Okay, so what are short life plastics? Mostly single use plastics are called as short life plastics. Other than that, there are also plastic which are used for packaging. Okay, they are also called as short life plastics, and they make up to 37% of the total plastic used annually. So it is very huge. Okay, so single use plastic and plastic packaging, those plastic materials approximately contribute to 37% of the total plastic used annually, and this category is the one which poses higher risk for the environment. Okay. Next, India's Plastic Overshoot Day was observed on January 6, 2023. Okay, and this was observed when the country's plastic waste generation, obviously as the definition goes, when the country's plastic waste generation overweighed the waste management capacity, that is called as overshoot, right? So for India, it was observed on January 6, 2023. Next is India's per capita consumption is 5.3 kilogram. This has to be noted. Such statements can be asked directly in your prelims examination. Okay, so India's per capita consumption is 5.3 kilogram, but it is significantly lower than the global average, which is 20.9 kilogram per person. Global average is this, but for India, we are having this much. But we are ranked 4th in mismanaged waste index. That is because of our population. We are huge in population, though we are using less plastic, okay, when compared to the global average. So such comparative points are important. Okay, so with this we have come to the end of this particular news, that is Plastic Overshoot Day. The next news is there is a species which is mentioned, which is in the news. Okay, Western Tragopan. What is this Western Tragopan? It is actually a pheasant. Okay, it is a pheasant. Pheasant is a bird. Okay, so it is a pheasant which is Himachal Pradesh state bird. So it is the state bird of Himachal Pradesh, and this Western Tragopan has faced habitat loss in the past years, but then now it is showing a gradual increase in its population at Sarahan Pheasantry due to its conservation efforts. So in this pheasantry, conservation efforts are taken. That is the reason why its population is gradually increasing. Okay, though it has faced habitat loss in the past few years, its population is increasing day by day due to conservation efforts. And we have to know other details about this Western Tragopan. This is the rarest of all the living pheasants. So that is again important. Other than that, due to its beautiful plumage and large size. What is plumage here? Plumage is nothing but its feather. Okay, its feather collectively is known as plumage. Okay, so beautiful plumage and large size. This bird is also known as, these two names are important, Jujurana and King of Birds. It is also called as Jujurana or King of Birds locally. Okay, so instead of giving the name directly Western Tragopan, they can also substitute it with Jujurana. Where is it found? And such questions can be asked. Next is, this is that bird, the beautiful bird that is mentioned. Okay, next, where can we find this bird? It is endemic to northwestern Himalaya. So when they say northwestern Himalaya, so Himalayas are here. So northwestern Himalaya is, this is north and this is west, right? So this place is northwestern Himalaya. So these are the regions where this particular bird is, Western Tragopan, is found. Okay, so it covers Pakistan, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and western part of Garhwal district. Garhwal district is a district in Uttarakhand. Okay, so these are the areas where you can find this bird, Western Tragopan. Other than that, they feed mostly on leaves, shoots and seeds, but they also consume insects and other invertebrates, and its IUCN status is vulnerable. All these points are very important for your prelims. Okay, next, the next topic is forest conservation initiatives in India. What are the forest conservation initiatives that Indian government has taken? Okay, this insight was given to us by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change in the monsoon session. Okay, so we have to focus such news articles with greater importance. Okay, when such news articles come in Press Information Bureau, then we must have to give greater importance to it from exam point of view. Okay, so recently Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has provided a valuable insights into the various initiatives which boost forest cover in India. So we have to understand about the forest cover in India and its status. Okay, who's the which is the body that is giving out the information about this forest cover? It is the Forest Survey of India, which is based in Dehradun. Okay, so all the facts in this particular point is very important. It is based in Dehradun, which is the body Forest Survey of India. Other than that, it is conducted biennially. So what is biennially? Once in every 2 years. Such small details are also important. In some statements, they may ask that this report is released annually or biannually, okay, but then it is actually released biennially, that is once in 2 years, okay. And the release started, the first release was in 1987. So since 1987 this report is being released every 2 years once, okay. Next, it is published in India State Forest Report. So recently we have 2021 report, and this year they are again conducting 2023, right? So 2 years later, 2023. So this year they are again conducting the forest survey, okay, and then we'll be getting the report by the end of this year or by the starting of the next year, okay, 2024. Let us see the details what are given in this ISFR, that is India State Forest Report 2021. According to this report, India's total forest and tree cover stands at 8,09,537 square kilometer, which accounts to 24.62% of the country's geographical area. Actually, India has this ambition of increasing our forest cover and tree cover to 33% of our geographical area, and we are taking many initiatives towards achieving this particular feat, okay. Next, notably this represents increase, okay, from the previous report, that is 2019 assessment. We are noticing an improvement, an increase in the forest cover. How much is the increase? 2,261 square kilometer of forest cover has been increased, okay. Thus it indicates a positive stride in forest conservation efforts. We are doing good and better in forest conservation. And what are all the initiatives taken by the government? There is a long list. We must have to highlight, we have to see the details of it, okay. Such questions may be asked in your mains examination. So if there is a question like what are all the initiatives taken by Indian government to increase the forest cover in India, then you can use such schemes to mention your answers, okay. Mention in your answer, okay. The first thing is Green India Mission. It was started in the financial year 2015 to 2016, and it focuses on afforestation activities, and in the last 5 years 755.28 crores has been released under this mission, and it has been released to 17 states and 1 union territory to support afforestation efforts. Other than that, we also have National Afforestation Program, which focuses on regeneration of degraded forest and adjoining areas, but then this program has been subsumed by this Green India Mission. So now it has been merged with Green India Mission. That is also important. Next we have Nagarban Yojana. Okay, what is this Nagarban Yojana? It has been established in the year 2020, and it aims to create 600 Nagarbans and 400 Nagar Vatikas. So in total 1,000 forested areas inside the urban areas will be developed. Urban and peri-urban areas will be developed by the year 2024-25. This is its aim, and the objective of this initiative is to enhance the green cover, preserve biological diversity, and also to improve the quality of people living in the urban areas. So the quality of life for urban dwellers, it must have to be improved. That is again an aim of this Nagarban Yojana. So as the name goes, Nagarban, which means Nagar is urban areas and then one is forest, okay. So urban forestry scheme is what the scheme is, okay. Next is Compensatory Afforestation Fund. What is Compensatory Afforestation Fund? This is the fund which is used for compensatory afforestation. What is compensatory afforestation? There are forest land which are diverted for many other infrastructure projects and industrial projects, okay, and those diverted forest areas has to be compensated somewhere else, okay, and for that they will be getting a particular fund called CAMPA fund, called as Compensatory Afforestation Fund, and this fund will be used for developing forest in that particular area which has been allotted, and of this 90% of the fund is given to the states and then 10% is retained by the central government. Okay, so all these details are important. This is again a initiative which is there to improve the forest cover of India. Next is multi-departmental efforts. Not only the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, there are also other ministries and state governments and union territories, other non-governmental organizations, NGOs and civil societies and even corporate bodies. They also take many efforts under their CSR, corporate social responsibility. Okay, they will be taking many measures to improve the forest cover in urban areas. Okay, and one such, there are many efforts under this. And to give some example, even Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, MG Narega, that scheme is also helping in developing forest areas. Other than that, we also have National Bamboo Mission and Submission on agroforestry. Okay, all this is important. And we also have Draft National Forest Policy. And this Draft National Forest Policy is important. It is because this policy focuses on integrating what and what? It integrates climate change mitigation and adaptation measures into forest management. Okay, so it integrates two things, that is climate change mitigation and adaptation measures with forest management practices. Okay, so it focuses on building resilience among climate change, building resilience to climate change, particularly among the forest dependent communities. There will be many forest dependent communities like tribal communities and forest dwellers will be there. They will be heavily dependent on the forest areas, and this particular policy focuses on developing resilience to climate change to those forest dwellers. Okay, so what is resilience here? Resilience means to overcome any difficulty as quick as possible, to face and overcome any difficulty as quick as possible is called as resilience. So by through climate change, they will be affected a lot. Okay, so even though they get affected or impacted by this climate change, they must have to come back. They must have to recover from it as quick as possible. That is called as resilience here. So this policy focuses on their resilience. Next is Forest Fire Protection and Management Scheme. This is to conserve, to prevent and manage forest fires, which will contribute to overall health of the ecosystem. Other than that, we also have National Coastal Mission Program. What is this Coastal Mission Program? It is there for conservation and management of mangroves. In our last session, we have discussed in detail about the mangroves. You can go and watch it. So even mangrove forest development is very important for our ecosystem, this forest ecosystem. Okay, there are other state specific initiatives. Here we have given two examples. First is Mission Harita Haram. This is a flagship program of Telangana government to increase the green cover of the state from 25.16 to 33%, which is the country's ambition. Again, India has this ambition of increasing our forest cover to 33%, right? So even here under this Mission Harita Haram, Telangana government is aiming to increase its forest cover from 25.16 to 33% of its total geographical area. Next, we have Green Wall Mission. That is an initiative launched by Haryana government to restore and protect Aravalli range. So this is important. So Green Wall Mission or Green Wall Initiative is related to Aravalli range. That is important. And then these details are also important. That is 1400 kilometer long and then 5 kilometer wide green belt has to be created as a buffer zone around the Aravalli mountain range, which will cover 4 states, that is Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat and Delhi. These 4 states will be covered under this particular initiative. Okay. Next, the next topic for the day is Himalayan Vulture. Okay. What is Himalayan Vulture? Why is it in the news? Those details we must have to understand. First is Assam State Zoo in Guwahati, which is located in Guwahati, has achieved a groundbreaking feat by successfully breeding the elusive Himalayan vulture in captivity for the first time in India. So, for the first time, Himalayan vulture, also called as Himalayan griffin, okay, this Himalayan griffin has been bred in captivity for the first time in India. And where is it done? In Assam State Zoo, which is located in Guwahati. Okay, so because of this particular vulture species is in news, so we have to get into the details of what this species is about and what are all the other vulture species we have in India and other details. Okay, additionally, the Union Ministry for Health and Family Affairs have decided to prohibit manufacture, sale and distribution of these two chemicals, drugs. What are they? Ketoprofen and then aceclofenac. So what are the importance of this drugs and how is it going to impact the population of vulture, and why are vulture conservationists being happy about the banning of these drugs? All those details we must have to understand. Okay, what is its conservation status? I mean, the conservation status of Himalayan griffin. Under IUCN, they are categorized as near threatened, and under CITES, they are under Appendix 2. Okay, so all these details are important. Next is, this is the Himalayan griffin that we are talking about, the vulture. What is its habitat and range? Where can we find this Himalayan griffin and what is its range? It is aptly named because its primary habitat is peaks and valleys of Himalayan mountain range. That is why it is named Himalayan griffin. Okay, and it is a common winter migrant to plain areas. So in India, you have mountainous region here. Okay, so you have all mountainous region here. In this Himalayan ranges only you can find these Himalayan griffin, and in the winter they migrate to plains. So here you have Indian plains, the Gangetic plains. So in the winter times they will migrate to plains because the winter will be very cold in the Himalayan ranges, so they migrate to plains for their food. Okay, so this migration is actually an adaptation which is made by such birds. Okay, next, its range extends across several countries including India, Nepal, Bhutan and China, where they thrive in challenging high altitude environments. This species mostly thrive at high altitude environments. Okay, and what is its ecological significance? Why is it significant for our ecosystem? Because they are top predators and scavengers. Okay, these vultures are top predators and scavengers, and they play a vital role in maintaining health of its habitat by efficiently disposing animal remains. This is important. So those animals which disposes the animal remains are called as scavengers. Okay, hyena is a scavenger, vulture is a scavenger because they consume the dead animals, the carcasses of animals they will feed on. Okay, so its scavenging behavior helps to prevent the spread of diseases. This is also important. So when there is going to be dead animals present in a particular location, then there are many chances that that dead animal will spread diseases which will affect many other animals. So they have to be disposed of, and these vultures are being the scavengers, they dispose it off easily. Okay, so thus they will contribute to overall balance of the ecosystem. So that is why they are ecologically significant. So they act as the top predator. We'll understand what is top predator in our upcoming slides. Okay, next we saw two drugs. What are they? Ketoprofen and then aceclofenac. So what are these? Why are they important? Let us understand. Ketoprofen and aceclofenac are two types of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Okay, so they are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs that are used to treat pain and inflammation in animals, especially in cattle. So they are actually prescribed for arthritis, injuries, and then post-surgery pain. So they are especially given for cattle. So how is it going to impact vultures when the vultures are going to feed on the dead cattle which are treated with these chemicals, with these drugs. Then these drugs will get into the body of vulture, and inside the body of vulture these drugs are causing kidney failure and death. It can also cause death of vulture. So that is how it is linked. Previously there was a chemical, a drug called diclofenac. It was banned to be used in cattle. Okay, so the diclofenac was banned. It is again a painkiller, and these ketoprofen and aceclofenac is also a painkiller. Now it has been banned. Okay, so this is the link. This is how it is linked. Next, we'll encounter a question based on the same concept that we saw now. That is, vultures which used to be very common in Indian countryside some years ago are rarely seen nowadays. This is attributed to. This was a question which was asked in 2012. See the options. Destruction of their nesting site by new invasive species. No. A drug used by cattle owners for treating their diseased cattle. Scarcity of food available to them, and then widespread, persistent and fatal disease among them. These three options are not valid, but then this was the valid option because at that time in the year 2012 and the years before, this diclofenac was posing a great threat to vulture population. Okay, so answer to this is a drug used by cattle owners for treating their diseased cattle. They were using painkillers to their cattle, that is diclofenac. Okay, so such topics are also important. And little more detail about the vultures in India. There are 23 species of vulture in the world, and of that 9 are found in India. Okay, and then the preferred habitats of vultures are generally deserts, savannas and grasslands with water source near it. So from this you should not come to a conclusion that vultures will be present only in plains. No, just before some time we saw that it is also present in high altitudes. That is, it inhabits open mountain ranges up to 3000 meters above the sea level. Yes, it is found at high altitudes also. This point is important. They are absent in Australia and most oceanic islands. Other than that, it exhibits a unique characteristic or feature, that is bald head and then bald throat. From the picture you might have seen that it has a bald head and then bald throat. This will actually help them to regulate their body temperature. Okay, so this is important. Next, these are the 9 vulture species that is found in India. We saw 23 all around the world, right? And among them 9 are found in India. What are they? White-rumped vulture, slender-billed vulture, long-billed vulture and red-head vulture. All these are categorized as critically endangered under IUCN and Red List. And then you have Egyptian vulture, Himalayan griffin, near threatened, and then Egyptian vulture is endangered. Even cinereous vulture, it is also near threatened. Bearded vulture again near threatened, and you also have griffin vulture, which is least concern. Okay, so such details are important for your prelims examination. The next topic is co-firing of coal with biomass pellets. So what is co-firing? Why do we have to go for co-firing along with coal, and other details we must have to understand, and who has given these details, that also we must have to know. Recently, Union Minister of Power and Union Minister of New and Renewable Energy has provided valuable insights into the revised biomass policy. So what is this revised biomass policy is going to say, that we must have to know. And what are they saying? 47 thermal power plants have successfully incorporated the co-firing of coal with biomass pellets derived from agro residues. So what are agro residues that are used for biomass pellet production, that we have to know. And what is this co-firing of biomass with coal, that process we must have to know. Okay, and according to the Ministry of Power, approximately 1,64,976 metric tons of agri residues are used for co-firing. Okay, Till May 2023, this much have been used by 47 coal-based thermal power plants. Next, what is biomass that we have to know in the first place? Biomass is a plant or animal material used as a fuel to produce electricity or power is called as, or heat is called as biomass. Okay, so they might be plant or animal material. So for example, wood, energy crops, waste which are generated from forest, yards and farms are called as biomass. Okay, and what is this biomass co-firing? It is a process in which the biomass based fuels, that is these fuels, are combusted together with traditional fossil fuel. What are the traditional fossil fuels that we know? We have coal, oil and natural gas. These are the traditional fossil fuels, and these two are going to be combusted together in the same power plant or industrial boiler to generate energy. So earlier only fossil fuel was used as a source. Now biomass based fuel are also going to be used as a source. Thus there need to be a slight change in the design or the infrastructure of the plant. Okay. Next, what is co-firing? How is it going to help? This co-firing is an option to convert biomass into electricity in an efficient and clean way and to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, so it will reduce greenhouse gas emissions. How is it going to reduce, or how is it going to achieve carbon neutrality? That we have to know. Next is biomass co-firing is a globally accepted cost-effective method for decarbonizing the coal fleet. Okay, so all this is important. Next is, what are the advantages of co-firing coal with biomass pellets? First thing is, even when we go for 5 to 7% of substitution of coal with this biomass pellets, then we can save 38 million tons of carbon dioxide emission. This is actually very huge. Okay, so even when we go for 5 to 7% of biomass substitution, coal will be substituted with this biomass pellets, then 38 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions can be saved. Okay, this is important. Next, renewable energy integration. Actually, this is a renewable energy, right? This biomass is a renewable source of energy. It will be integrated with the conventional energy source, that is the coal. Thus, it will aid in transitioning to a cleaner energy mix. You might have heard about ethanol blending, bioethanol blending with petrol. So this is again an energy mix with conventional and this is renewable. Okay, so conventional and renewable. So there will be energy mix here. Okay, next is economic and regulatory benefits. What are the economic and regulatory benefits that we have? That is, power plants will be having certain environmental regulations and carbon reduction targets to meet, and these targets and regulations will be met easily when we go for co-firing of coal. Co-firing coal with biomass pellets. Okay, next, utilization of biomass. If we are not going to use this biomass, then they may go to waste. Okay, so we are moving towards a circular economy, that is, we are going to reduce the waste as much as possible. Okay, so we are going to utilize the biomass waste. This is again important. Next is carbon neutral in co-firing method. How are we going to attain carbon neutrality? See, this is the biomass that we are going to use in the plants. Okay, so this biomass will be used in this plants. Even while firing this, CO2 will be emitted, that is there, but again, what is the source here? Plant based source. Okay, so these plants will actually absorb carbon dioxide when they are in growth. Okay, so this is how it is going to attain neutrality. This carbon dioxide will be absorbed by the plants. The carbon dioxide is released from here from the combustion, but then the carbon dioxide is absorbed by the plants, which is again going to be a source for this combustion process. So this is how the neutrality is attained. Okay, this you need to understand. with co-firing method. Next, what are all the agro residues that are used for biomass pellets? You have crop residues, shell based, and then there are also other biomass sources. In crop residues, you have many plants like paddy, soya, cotton, gram, bajra and other things. And then in shell based, you have groundnut shell, coconut shell, and then castor seed shell and other things. Okay, and there are also other biomass sources like horticulture waste, and then pine cone needles, elephant grass, and then sarkanda. Sarkanda is actually a grass type. Okay, so all these can be used as biomass pellets. I mean, they can be used for making biomass pellets. Next is, we talked about revised biomass policy, right? So what is this revised biomass policy that has been given by Ministry of Power? So June 16, 2023, very recently, they have made a modification in this biomass policy. Actually, this policy is of 2021, October 2021, but then it has been recently modified. What are the modifications that they have made? They have mandated 5% biomass co-firing in thermal power plants starting from the year 2024-25, and it will be further increased to 7% from the fiscal year 2025-26. So all these details are important. So this is the revised biomass policy that we are having now. 5% from the year 2024-25 and 7% from the year 2025-26. Okay, so little by little we are going to improve the share of biomass in coal power plants. Next, so with this, actually we have come to end of the current affairs based things. So in this class we'll be studying basics of environment. Okay, so from this session onwards, let us study basics of environment. The core concepts of environment in each classes. Okay, one by one. So for today's class, you have trophic levels. So what are trophic levels? That detail we must have to understand. So what is trophic level? Trophic level is nothing but sequential arrangement of organisms in feeding links is called as trophic level. So sequential arrangement in feeding links. So we are going to arrange organisms in feeding links. How one organism is dependent on other organism for their food. Okay, so this is called as feeding link, and when we arrange them in a sequential order, that becomes the trophic level. And how are these trophic levels arranged, that we have to understand. Let me show you the picture here. Okay, the first trophic level, you have producers, that is plants. Producers are plants, green plants. They are also called as autotrophs. All these terms are important. Autotrophs are those organisms which produce their own food, and heterotrophs are those organisms which depend on other organisms for their food. Okay, so these are autotrophs. They are also called as phototrophs because they are going to produce food through photosynthesis. So they are also called as phototrophs. So autotrophs, phototrophs, and then producers, all can be used synonymously. Okay, so first trophic level is composed of the producers. The next trophic level, you have primary consumers, and then the third trophic level, you have secondary consumers, fourth trophic level tertiary, and then the fifth trophic level, you have the apex predators. Okay, so the primary consumers are also called as herbivores, secondary consumers called carnivores, and then the tertiary consumers, they are also secondary carnivores, and then you have the apex predators like vulture, eagle, and tiger at the topmost level. Now we'll understand each and every statement regarding trophic levels, and we'll try to understand it in a better way. Okay, all these statements can be directly asked in your prelims. Okay, so you must have to give importance to these statements and understand it well. First thing is, phototrophs will always occupy trophic level 1. Yes, it is true. Okay, so phototrophs or green plants or producers or autotrophs, they will always occupy trophic level 1. Okay, that is clear. Next is, heterotrophs can occupy more than one trophic level but not trophic level 1. Okay, these are heterotrophs. All the other organisms are heterotrophs, and this is the only autotroph. Okay, so heterotrophs can occupy multiple trophic levels, but then they cannot occupy the first trophic level. That is again true. Next, there will be respirational losses. So that is called as 10% rule. What is 10% rule here? There will be loss of 99% of the energy, and only 10% of the energy will be transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level. This is called as 10% rule. Okay, say for example, here you have producers, that is plants. They are going to get 1 lakh joule of energy from the sunlight, and of this 1 lakh joule of energy they will be utilizing 90%, and only the rest 10%, that is 10,000 joule, will be transferred to the primary consumers. And similarly again the 10% rule appears to from this trophic level to this trophic level. Okay, so it becomes 1000, 100 and then 10. So this is how the energy is transferred, transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level. So this is called as the 10% rule. Let us understand furthermore statements. That is, production is applicable only in trophic level 1. We already saw this because only trophic level 1 has autotrophs or producers or photosynthesizers. But respirational loss, what we saw as the 10% rule, is because of the heat loss or the respirational loss. This loss is due to utilization by those organisms. Trees are going to get a lot of energy from the sun, but then they are going to utilize it for its growth. Okay, only the rest is given to the next organism, the herbivores. Okay, so they are going to utilize it. So whatever is utilized is actually what is lost. Okay, they are going to utilize it for its growth, but that is considered here to be lost. Okay, as lost. Okay, so production is applicable only in trophic level 1, but then respirational loss is applicable to all trophic levels, including trophic level 1. So even in trophic level 1 you will experience respirational loss. Okay, so from there onwards this 10% rule is applicable. Okay, next is feeding capacity. What is feeding capacity here? The stored energy to be fed by others. Any organism will be having certain stored energy and it will be fed by others. That is called as the feeding capacity of that particular organism. So it will go on decreasing when we increase in trophic levels. So when we move from one trophic level to another higher trophic levels, then the feeding capacity will be decreasing because the energy is getting decreased 10% from one trophic level to the other. Next is increasing respirational loss with increasing trophic level will keep on decreasing feeding capacity. This we already know. Thus, the population has to decrease with increase in trophic level. This is important. Okay, this is a typical case. Only when the population decreases, then there will be a sustainable transfer happening. Okay, so the population has to decrease with increase in trophic level. That is the reason why we have food pyramid. Okay, so we already saw it is a pyramid. Why is it having a broader base? Producers will be having a lot of energy and it will also be bigger in population. Plants will be very larger in population. Okay, so when it comes to productivity point of so when we talk about productivity, producers have the largest productivity here. Okay, so hence you are seeing a food pyramid. That is the reason why the shape is pyramidical. Okay, next is lower the trophic level, larger the population. Yes, lower the trophic level, larger the population. Higher the trophic level, lesser the population. This is a very typical or ideal thing. Next, trophic level 5 will not have sufficient stored energy to be fed by others, and that is the reason why is it at the top and not more than 5 trophic levels are present. There can be multiple trophic levels, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, but then no. In the example that we saw here, we started with 1 lakh joule, but then when we came to the trophic level 5, it has reduced to just 10 joule. Okay, so it will be having just 10 joule of energy to transfer it to the other organism. That much of low energy is not required by any organism. So they can't survive with such low energy. That is the reason why these top predators are at trophic level 5 and no other trophic level 6 and 7 are present. Okay, that is because they will be having very low stored energy. Okay, next. In the higher trophic level, if there is more population than the lower trophic level, then balance will be interrupted. This is important. Okay, then there are chances that this pyramid shape is getting altered. Okay, generally it is pyramidal in shape, right? But then there are chances that you might experience shapes like spindle. Such shapes you may experience. Okay, so such shapes are because of a bloom in the population at mid-trophic levels. Okay, say trophic level 2 or 3 or even 5. Okay, so such imbalance will be occurring in the ecosystem when the population of those organisms in higher trophic levels is more than the population in the lower trophic level. This is actually a ecological trouble. Okay, in humans we are observing this ecological trouble, that is human population is actually increasing alarmingly and thus they are depleting the population of other trophic levels. We are depleting. There are newses like so and so organism have become extinct. That is because of the human activities. Mostly it is we humans are held responsible and accountable for such activities. Okay, so we must have to grow sustainably. Okay, so this sudden increase in population in a particular trophic level will actually cause ecological trouble. Okay, so this is the concept behind trophic levels. I hope you understood the concept of trophic level very well. So with this we have come to end of today's session. I hope you enjoyed the session and let us meet in the next session. Thank you.